What is going on, guys? Happy Monday. In this video, we're talking about consistency. And if you've been at this as long as I have, you know that consistency is always going to be the bottom layer. I just got done taking a week off. I was on vacation for a week, and the first workout that I just finished like an hour ago was one of the most difficult things I've done in a long time after taking a week off. Running, lifting, putting those at the same time has me question every time I take some time off and wonder why consistency is such the biggest thing in the world. So I hear you guys whenever you guys want to be a little bit more consistent, you just don't know how. So I've thought about this a little bit and want to put together a game plan for you. So I hope this helps. First of all, we see a lot of starting and stopping. Starting and stopping is very, very, very frustrating, and that's nothing we want to see. Ultimately, you have this goal, but you start drinking, you start eating like crap, you start sleeping a little bit later, and you start getting into these bad habits that you don't want to be in. Sooner rather than later, you also start to make like excuses that kind of don't make sense anymore. So you're like, my car's steering wheel feels a little weird, so I can't work out today. And that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so all these excuses that sometimes we hear are just a sign of it's been pushed down the priority scale. Ultimately, you just don't feel happy with yourself whenever you can't complete something. You set out these goals, but you just can't follow through with them. But there is good news. Once you come up with a really good plan, everything just starts to become on autopilot, and that's ultimately what we want. You also start putting together all the habits that you really thought about, and you put them together into this one really good action plan, and you just do it over and over again. Finally, the excuses, they just don't exist anymore, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh my gosh, I just love myself, what I'm doing. I'm in a rhythm, and I am just completely unstoppable right now. So 3 key principles that we put together here for you, and these are some things you just have to understand. Number 1 is to draw your life. Draw your life means to really set these goals. And when we finally set these goals, it's not just like what's my goal, what am I gonna do, and how long is it gonna take? It really is about your ultimate why. So it wasn't until I was coached, I never thought about how deep goal setting really got. I had goals, but until you label your ultimate why, that's where you really get to uncover what it is that you're looking for. For instance, if somebody wants to PR their deadlift, that might be a good reason to start lifting, right? But until you uncover why that you really want to get so much stronger, maybe it's because that person over there has a really strong deadlift, or maybe it's because you saw an Instagram video and you really want to hit this number, or maybe it's because you just want to be better than the person that you want to be with, or maybe it's just to be better than you were 3 months ago. That is the ultimate reason why. And it could go even deeper than that. Why do you want to be better? Maybe it's because for the last 3 years, you've been taking steps backwards, and now is the time that you really want to change and you really want to start taking steps forward in your life. And the smallest thing could be just PRing your deadlift, and that is a small step that someone can take. So getting stronger could be a good reason, but if you can get what's underneath the iceberg, it can really help. So some things that goal setting really does, it helps you align your focus, it helps set new behaviors, and it gives you something to measure. Ultimately, what you get out of this is just more success and more performance. I like to look at the iceberg. You know, a lot of people say that's the tip of the iceberg. Well, your goals that you typically set of I want to get stronger, or I want to lift this much, or I want to lose this much weight, that's the iceberg. There's so much more underneath. Is it an insecurity from middle school? Is it because you just got divorced and you really want to just get something good for yourself? Is it because you don't have as much time as you used to and you don't get to get out as much? Maybe this is gonna be your time to give yourself something that you can win for a little bit. Number 2, put it into the universe. This is so big. I was talking with Sam, and Sam was like, Sam had been in a little bit of a funk over the last 6 to 12 months, and he knows it. He understands the importance of being where he was. He used to be very fit, let it fall off a little bit, and that happens in life. He wants to be a little bit more consistent. So he came to me about 3 weeks ago and was like, hey, we're doing a 12-week all-out nutrition thing. He told me his excuses. He told me all the things, all the triggers in life that he's like, hey, I have to have 1 drink a week. That's great. Once you put that into the universe, that will tell somebody a lot of different things. Sharing our goals with others provides us with one of the most basic needs, and that's just positive reinforcement. Sharing your progress also results in saying, hey, job well done. And all this positive reinforcement can just motivate you a little bit more to excel. Remember, action, get those results, and then you have more motivation to keep going. Finally, number 3, find your sand. So when I was on a beach trip a couple years ago, I was struggling with a little bit of consistency in every aspect of my life, and I narrowed it down. And I was on a beach, and I found it was on an international trip, and it was a beach that had all kinds of rocks. So it had boulders, it had rocks, it had pebbles, and it had sand. What I saw here was like, hey, your boulders are your macro goals. These are your goals that like, hey, in 10 years, I want to be A, B, C. Your rocks are something that you can do in a year or so. Hey, I want to make sure I get a new job, or I want to lift 50 pounds more than I do right now. Your pebbles are the things that you can do this week or this month. Hey, I can at least get a little bit more consistent. And then your sand are the absolute minute details that you want to do on a daily basis that'll make a difference. So if you do the sand, it'll translate to the pebbles, which will translate to the rocks, which will then translate to the boulders. So some of the things that I equate to sand are like your sleep, the time on your phone, the number of steps you do, your activity per day, how much water you drink per day. And don't forget, guys, also the little triggers that you have in your life and the excuses. So like if you feel like putting the remote in your hand is gonna trigger you to go down a bad habit, or if you feel like turning on this app on your phone. I remember Lindsay, one of our members here, was saying that she just deleted Instagram and her life just feels so much better. That is just one of the little things that you can do to help yourself be a little bit more consistent. So find your sand. So 3 things that you can do today that would really help you get a little bit more consistent. Number 1, ask yourself why you want what you want. I would encourage you to talk to somebody who really cares about you about this. You can talk to me, you can talk to your mom, you can talk to your roommate, your brother, sister, cousin, someone that actually cares that you actually hit your goal or not. They're gonna be able to understand your goal and really ask why. They'll be able to go back and forth. They'll be able to say, oh, but you usually do this, or they might even give you the hard truth of saying, hey, you've been really inconsistent about achieving this because, and here's what I see as your trigger. And that's the truth of it. You just need to get underneath the goal and find out the ultimate why of why you want that goal. Number 2, put it into the world. Define those goals and tell somebody about it. We prefer SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-sensitive goals so that you can make sure that you actually have something to work towards. Try not to make it very gray. Make it as black and white as possible so that you know that you can measure these goals and hit that goal in the future. Finally, plan it out. You got to have a plan. I'm talking a daily plan that you can do checklist, a weekly plan that shows on a macro level what you're going to do for the week, a monthly plan, and that'll get you towards the years. Remember the boulders, the rocks, the pebbles, and the sand. On your daily plan, think about how much water you're gonna drink, when you're gonna go to sleep, when you're gonna work out. Those little things, when you schedule those, are gonna be really important. On a weekly level, think about if you want a cheat meal that week. If that'll be really important to plan that out so that on the rest of those days, you're like, hey, I'm looking forward to that cheat meal. I'm just gonna go ahead and eat great the rest of the week so that I can enjoy my cheat meal. You can also think about how many workouts you're going to be doing throughout the week, and that'll give you a good macro view of your workouts for the week. Finally, plan out a monthly view. So when you think about a monthly view, that'll give you a chance to reset. So you've hit it 4 weeks in a row, maybe take a few days off and think about what new goals are. You probably already hit a goal and you probably want to just go a little bit further. So think about that and kind of reset what the day, the month looks like. It's a good chance to reset. Look back at the month before and say, hey, I did a really good job at sleeping, but I did a really bad job of staying off of my phone or watching TV or building those habits that you really want to build. Again, this is the 30,000 foot view. You can also use this as a chance to plan a social outing, go out to eat. This is something that you guys can do to get a little bit more consistent. Ultimately, consistency is the goal. Remember, if you have a pyramid, the bottom level is going to be your consistency. The workouts and the food and sleep and all that come after that. If you can't be consistent about everything on top of that, then it doesn't make sense to keep going. So again, we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. If you want to see a little bit more, let me know in the comments and we'll talk. See you, bye.